Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. DAPS.
And I had a really funny joke you couldn't hear the last 2 times, so I'm not going to say it again. I'm Katie.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. There's no Cameron for a fact.
There is no Cameron for a fact. We might have more of this from the beginning than we think we did, but so we might see Katie drinking water and all this fun stuff before the show.
But what you didn't see is me eating an entire candy cane of Skittles.
That is correct.
You did see on Instagram.
We'll see. Let us know what's working. Let us know if it started where we think it did.
We don't know.
We don't actually know. This could be very fun. So we are live now, I believe so. We are next to a birch log mic, and we're next to a birch log because this TV, this very warm, wonderful TV is too old for Disney Plus, which is why it's in the studio and not in my office.
It's been very, very funny because I think that everyone has separately suggested that we do the Arendelle Yule log.
Including most of our team that's not here tonight.
Yeah.
And we would love to, but...
Yeah, no, trust me. I want to do it.
But birch is okay, right?
I haven't looked at the Arendelle Yule log, actually.
Okay.
I've been watching Clone Wars on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I haven't watched it either, and...
Do you watch a Yule log?
I guess.
Is that what you do? Like, what's...
They're not actually watching us. They're watching the Yule log. That's how this works. There's...
They said, I would like there to be a Yule log, but I guess I'm just going to have to put on this YouTube show. Quick, move out of the way.
Great, there's a birch log there we can watch.
Yeah, precisely.
It'll be fantastic.
Sound is great. Yay!
Good. I'm glad the sound is great. Hopefully we look okay. The fire hopefully looks even better. The tree is geektastic.
The tree is beautiful.
And we will get right on this. So, here we go.
Let's go.
Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker has entered theaters. It is taking over the galaxy by storm, I guess we could say. Not like the storm that's been outside all day, but
all day.
All day.
Except for when I was awake.
Well,
Yeah.
Some things happen, some things don't.
Something happens, some don't.
So no spoilers tonight because we don't know if you've seen it or not. You can let us know. With the hashtag Geeks Corner, you can join the conversation, just like always. But we'd love to know, one, if you've seen, yes, Katie was tasting the rainbow. Have you seen Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker? And 2, what'd you think of it? And no spoilers, as we mentioned before.
No spoilers.
So, first off, overall, what'd you think?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun. And most importantly, I feel like it felt like a Star Wars movie.
Absolutely did.
And I think that there's a lot of... You can get into nitty-gritty about any Star Wars movie. And I think that that's kind of been my biggest thing with people. Is I'm like, if you... Not even any Star Wars movie. Any film in general. If you want to start going after small details, you can. But the most important thing is, how did you walk away feeling? And I walked away very happy, and I had fun. So that's what matters.
Well, and it's not like I can remember some of the prequels. I walked out going,
huh?
Exactly. I was like, wait, what just happened? And
yeah.
I mean, prime example, The Phantom Menace, the first time I saw it, I didn't know what to think of it. I was like, that's cool. It's Star Wars. I don't know what they were doing with those effects.
No one knew what to think.
But it was very confusing.
Yeah.
And then the second one came along and we heard this thing about sand and skin and all this weird stuff. And it was like, this is not the Star Wars I grew up with. I would rather see, Han and Leia. And
pod racing.
And then the third one came along and that one I actually, for the most part, liked other than the high ground. And
it's over, Anakin.
But and the thing you notice in those 3 too is the Anakin story arc is very dramatic, where it's like 1 minute he's fine and the next minute he's like, oh, I'm the worst person ever.
Yes.
And I think people, as we're talking about Star Wars, are forgetting. I think it just takes Star Wars fans in general time to get used to whatever's going on in the universe. And I think that's still happening with The Last Jedi. It's going to happen for quite some time with The Rise of Skywalker. And it takes, like, if they do another, or when they do another trilogy, let's say it's 10 years from now, suddenly these will be the sacred cows. And it's like, oh, you can't do this. What do you mean there's going to be a new, I don't know, Qui-Gon Jinn movie? You know, like, you can't touch Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, he's like, and
Darth Maul. Give Darth Maul a movie.
And I think we've forgotten that we're not critics. We're just people that are there to be entertained.
Yeah.
And we've gotten so good at picking things apart that we forget that every Star Wars movie you could rip to shreds. There's always something that's cringeworthy in a Star Wars movie, which is kind of what makes them fun.
And I've also made that argument where most of the Star Wars movies have been wonderful, fantastic Star Wars movies. If you put them in the realm of cinema, it doesn't necessarily hold up to high fine art cinema.
But have you ever heard of The Long Ships? It's a really old, really terrible, boring movie. Or what is it? 9, Space something 9.
For a second, I was like, "Are you trying to say Deep Space Nine?" And then I was like, "You're not."
Plan 9? Anybody know? Let me know in the comments.
But anyway, it doesn't have to be this wonderful cinematic masterpiece that's going to go win all these awards. It needs to be a Star Wars movie. And I think Rise of Skywalker did that. And I really enjoyed it. I would really love to go see it again. We've had quite a few friends that have walked out the first time loving it, having a few things that they had a kind of question mark over. They saw it a second time, and the things that they had a question mark over did not bother them in the slightest a second time. And they loved it that much more.
And I think that's a good way to... Plan 9 from Outer Space, that was the movie.
I don't...
Terrible movie. It's so bad that you can download it on YouTube and reuse it, and they don't care about the copyright.
Perfect. So that's...
Johnny and I were going to do a parody of it because it was that bad. And we're like, we could do this whole, like, thing. And
we should do that.
We never did. This is weird. I don't usually have a computer on Geeks Corner. I usually have the iPad, and it's easier to reach my drink. But,
Beverage.
But, yeah. That's a bad movie.
Yeah. But... And I'm not saying that Star Wars is a bad movie, or
no, I'm saying it's not at all. I'm
Exactly.
saying when you think of like true bad movies versus any Star Wars movie, night and day different.
So it's not Cats?
That's a conversation we could have if we'd seen Cats.
We haven't seen Cats.
We have not seen
But
Cats.
we do know that there is a train cat, and we also know that Walt loved trains. So we just brought that right on back.
Thank you, Jeff. You're right. It's Plan 9 Plan 9 from Outer Space. Music. It's Star Wars, so it's got awesome music.
It's gorgeous.
It's one of those things, the more I've listened to it, the more I've liked it as well. And so I have to give it 2 thumbs up, and really enjoyed it. Who is your favorite character? That's not a spoiler question, is it?
Can I say my favorite, like, non-consequential character? Because I love Babu Frick.
Sure.
Because I could say something very meaningful, and I could say Ray, and I could say, like, I could make arguments for all of the main principal characters, but I loved Babu Frick to the point where all of me and my coworkers have been walking around just being like, Join! Because it's really fun to run around yelling, Join!
So we should take a moment.
I also love Dio.
I need to interrupt you just for a second.
Okay.
We have a viewer, a good friend named Clocky, who is watching us on a monorail going to Epcot. Is that not the coolest place to watch Geeks Corner ever?
I wish I was watching Geeks Corner on monorail to Epcot.
It actually reminds me of when Mikey and I did a Geeks Corner episode in Epcot, which was also very cool. But, hey, Clocky.
Hi friends.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy Walt Disney World.
Merry, I'm not wearing my watch. Oh,
Merry
gracious.
Christmas
Merry
Eve
1 a.m.
Yes.
So Merry Christmas Eve to you.
Yeah.
Because you're in the future.
Yeah. He's not in the year 2020 yet, but heading that direction.
You're close enough.
Anybody else know in the year 2000?
Yes.
Late Night with Conan
Have we
O'Brien?
not referenced that on this show?
So good. Music loved. You liked a lot of the cute characters.
Okay, Babu Frick and Dio, especially, we talked about this in our spoilery stream, but I'll talk about it here.
We're not going to talk about spoilers.
I'm talking about it here because there are no spoilers here, so
Perfect.
if you want to avoid. I thought the Dio was going to be a marketing ploy just to sell toys, and so I went in with the mindset of, I'm not going to like this droid. And then
I think a lot of us did.
Droid was so cute. I very much liked
and
Dio.
Purposeful and had a reason.
Yeah. Wasn't just
and wasn't overused.
It wasn't BB-90. It was,
yeah.
There's a purpose. I really liked it.
And it wasn't like he was just BB-8's sidekick. It was just like, oh no,
he was
here for a reason.
Kind of BB-8's. BB-8's like pet.
BB-8 wishes.
So imagine if you had a pet cat, and then your pet cat had a pet cat. That's Dio.
Okay.
Or if you have a dog, and then your dog has a cat, and the cat has a hamster.
Okay.
That's what happens when Geeks Corner starts. Whoa, Geeks Corner starts at 10.
Starts at 10. Amazing.
Boy, howdy.
Hey, howdy. Hey.
Hey, howdy, hey.
Yeah, I really liked D.O. I really liked C-3PO in this film.
It was good.
I thought they did a great job with him in this. And, yeah, I'm not going to say who else I liked.
I was going to say,
I know who you were
about to say.
I probably shouldn't say.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think they did a fantastic job. I look forward to seeing this in the theaters multiple times.
Yes.
I do want to see it in the Dolby Theater where it has the really high quality sound and the high quality video because I think that will just add to it that much more.
But would you like to see it in a 4D theater?
I don't know. Like, I was thinking about that could be cool, but it would be an exhausting way to watch this film.
I agree.
Because there's always something happening.
Yes.
And so I just feel like this actually would be a case where the 4D theater might be a little bit too exhausting.
I agree.
And it'd be fun, but it just...
It would be a very novelty experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. I think it might be too much, though.
Yeah.
I would do it, but I don't know that I don't know how far I'd want to go with that. Were there any things in, like, any things that you flat out just disliked? I know we have one thing that we all kind of were like, eh.
Yeah, we
can't
talk about
that. But it didn't really overtake. Like, there weren't any major tonality issues. There weren't any major.
Where when you just said there was one thing that we all went eh, I had to think for a second where I was like, what's the thing where we all went eh?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I actually could have my mind changed by that. Like J.J. Abrams might explain that scene, and I'll be like, okay. Because as I've been thinking about it and rationalizing it, I'm like, there are a couple of different story paths that could be taken where I'm not going to say I would like it, but I'd be like, okay, I see what you're doing there.
It.
I can get that. I can get behind it.
And I feel like that'll also change when the novelization comes out for you.
Yeah.
Because
if I have the context for why decisions are made, quite often I can get behind them, and I'm very curious with how some of them. Actually, there's several of them in there, like. That was the one we're talking about was the most dramatic, but there's also several other decisions that we were just kind of like eyebrow up.
Yes.
And
the infamous eyebrow.
Yes. And it'll be interesting to see in the novelization if they're played out a little bit more and we can find out a little more of the backstory of what's going on in these scenes. And I'm sure it really came down to, hey, we have like a 6-hour film here. We have to cut it down to 2 hours and whatever.
Just because books aren't as limited as it's just a different medium of telling a story. And so they can oftentimes fit some other things that necessarily the screen couldn't fit. Mr. Daps is a very big fan of the novelizations of Star Wars films because there's usually notably, I'm thinking of the first sentence of The Last Jedi novelization.
Yeah, there's this fantastic line, and if you haven't read it, go read it. But it gave me a lot of question marks about Luke that, frankly, are not answered in this movie either. And it could lead to some great comic books or great, actually, be cool animated series, to be completely honest. But there's still a ton of question marks that could be answered at some point later.
I feel like this is also to touch on, though, movies are not the only Star Wars canon. There are many other ways to flesh out the Star Wars canon. And if you don't engage with those pieces of fiction, that doesn't make you less of a Star Wars fan in the slightest.
Yep.
But it is a way, if you want to get more answers to your questions or you want to dive deeper into some things, there are those options there, whether it be a comic book or novelization.
Well, that's what they're doing great with Star Trek, too, to flip franchises a little bit.
A little bit.
Is they're doing a lead up to Star Trek Picard that first is comic, and then I guess there's a book coming out in a couple weeks, too. And I've read the first 2 of the 3 comics, and they don't really give away a ton. And I'm 90% sure in the first 5 minutes of Picard, we're going to be like, oh, that's what happened. And this is just a little bit more fleshed out, but they're fun to see.
Yeah. It's fun to enjoy more of the things you enjoy.
And there is so much good Star Wars media out there, whether it's the shows. Like, I haven't even gotten it. Like, I watched part of Resistance, but there's a ton of that left. You're watching Clone Wars.
I was gonna say, and
Rebels.
we just talked about Anakin's sudden turn in the prequels, and I'm watching Clone Wars right now, which really dives deeper into that.
Well, and to me, the Clone Wars redeemed the prequels massively.
Yeah.
And I've never outright hated the prequels, but I've never really connected with them either. And part of it was just like I grew up with the classics, and then this was kind of a round two thing, and it just didn't. I've always had an issue with CGI also. Like, if it's noticeable, if there's effects that are noticeable, it really grates on me.
Yeah.
And so this was one that definitely, like, I always think of Phantom Menace. There's that battle scene with the really green grass that just looks like you could stick your hand through it.
Yeah.
And same with the sky. And the Clone Wars, watching those added enough depth and storytelling to the prequels that I was like, I don't actually care about the digital effects not being what I would want them to be yet. And
I feel like the prequels was very much a flex of, look at what we can do with computers.
Well, and I think that's what's great about George Lucas is he's always wanted to push the, he creates a effects company so that he can have the effects he wants. And he's continued to run with it for the last 40 years. And
I do love that
continue for 40 years.
Sequel trilogy used a lot of practical effects.
Yeah, I agree. That was a very good choice. 2 thumbs up, I think, for Star Wars Rise of Skywalker.
I loved it.
I'm all on board with this. I cannot wait for us to get the bonus features on the home entertainment movies. I just think this is going to be phenomenal. And whenever it gets on Disney Plus, that'll be a win too. One of the things that came out with it was Star Tours, The Adventures Continue, now has 2 new scenes from the movie, which we won't talk about the scenes. But they did a really fun job. I think it's interesting because they did a great job of connecting with the movie in this sequence. I don't know that it's my favorite sequences they've made in the new version of Star Tours.
Well, my favorite is obviously pod racing.
Of course.
Now this is pod racing.
Well, and there's Hoth and there's...
Yeah. No, there's a lot of really good sequences. I do really miss... when the Adventures Continue first rolled out, and it was very randomized. I do miss that.
It'll come back.
It's very fun to have these experiences and to be able to walk off and connect with other guests.
And there is actually still one randomization in Adventures Continue, because there's 2 opening scenes, and they're using both of those still.
That makes sense.
They have updated the opening scene for the second one to reflect some of the storytelling going on in Star Wars. But actually, both of them have been updated now that I'm thinking about it. But I really enjoyed it. I don't know. So I liked the closing scene.
I loved the closing scene.
Because it tied a lot of bows, and that was just amazing.
It's really fun.
The 2 middle scenes, I liked them, and the effects were awesome.
I think the effects were some of the best that Star Tours has done.
Yes.
In motion simulator respect.
Yes. And I guess I just wanted like a little bit more of something, and I'm not entirely sure what that is. Like, maybe it's speed, maybe it's pacing.
It does feel weird that it is 2 different parts of the story
that aren't connected.
That aren't connected at all.
And that could be it too. Like, from basically when you get your transmission on, I'm pretty much all on board. I think they did a fairly good job with that. It's before the transmission connecting to after transmission. I'm kind of like, okay, I get it. But like, I think I know the choice I would have made, and maybe we'll talk about this in a few months, because I actually think there's other opportunities in the movie that I would have pulled from.
I will say, if you have not seen the movie, do yourself a favor, don't go on Star Tours until you see it. There's nothing that's a dead giveaway for spoilers. But
it's technically a spoiler.
If you walk into the film having been on this version of Star Tours, you'll kind of go, oh, I wish I hadn't seen some things.
Yeah.
So
there's kind of a reveal, I guess that's the best way to put it, that it takes away from. continuing with the Star Wars theme, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance opens in less than a month here at Disneyland. And it was confirmed today that they will be utilizing the virtual queue.
Yay!
Which I think is fantastic. And I'm hoping it leads to a better guest experience than standing in line for 5 hours or 10 hours or whatever it is, which I think it will. I am curious to see how it plays out here versus at Disney's Hollywood Studios, where they had people at like 4 a.m. getting boarding queues or boarding groups, what are they called? Yeah,
Boarding groups.
And then they just switched it last week, so now you have to be in the park with the park being open before you can get your boarding pass or boarding group assignment.
And there's also a bit of a lottery system.
So that could be happening here. It'll be something along that line. It'll be fun to see what it is. Cast members will get a first go at that, and then 17th, it's all go. Murray, the former bellhop, was just had the opportunity to go to Walt Disney World.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. And he loved the system for virtual queuing. He honestly thought it was great. And so that actually gave me hope. Someone that we know that knows Disney likes
and he was just, it seemed like, completely satisfied.
Exactly. And it worked. And he got on the attraction. He also got on Tower of Terror.
While waiting, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I thought that was cool. He's like, I got my boarding pass, and then I went on the other, which is really the goal, is that you're not spending as much time waiting in line. You're getting to go do more things.
I feel like there's almost like a badge of honor for Disney Parks fans. Being like, I was there for opening day of Racers, and I waited in the 12-hour line. So I feel like I don't think it is a bad thing. I don't like waiting in line for 12 hours at a time. I like to be able to be free to eat and do other things, like eat, like, and then eat more.
Watch parades.
Yeah, there's so many other options. There's so many better ways to utilize time. And I think that the small minority.
Minority?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Yep, no problem.
Boy, howdy. They are just it's not
vocal minority.
They're very vocal, and I think that it's not anything, because at the end of the day, when you take a step back, you're like, do I really want to stand in line for 12, 15 hours? Do I want to be in the Star Tours line where Disney stayed open for 72 hours straight because like the line wouldn't
go away?
End? Like, no. At the end of the day, it's fun to be a part of that buzz and that hype. But I think this is a much better system.
Yeah,
like,
I think it's going to be fantastic.
I agree.
I am curious. This comes down to kind of the Disneyland conundrum: is for the locals that can't get in first thing in the morning, are they just out of luck? And
I feel like at least opening week, probably.
And I actually don't care. Like because I'm one of them, and no, I think it's fair.
Yeah.
Like we're not entitled to getting to go on this because we showed up at 4 p.m. because we worked.
Yeah.
When other people took vacation hours and hard-earned pay to go to Disneyland, and if I want to go on Rise of the Resistance that badly, then I should take a day off and show up at the park and get my boarding pass.
To be fair, for opening day, I have taken vacation day.
Yeah. Let's hope the lottery works in our favor.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, so you know what I just said like 5 minutes ago about how this is a great system, and yeah,
we'll find out.
So we'll find out in a couple weeks how I actually feel. But no, I have taken that time. I think that for the people that the same people that got upset about reservations because they're locals and all these things, the park is still there to us.
Yeah, make it a priority and it'll be fine.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we can go into the park on a random Tuesday in May.
Yep.
And it'll still be there. So.
Yep. All right, let's pivot to something else that's completely un-Disney related. The Tournament of Roses Sip and Savor is returning in Pasadena. I might have messed up exactly what it's called, but it's Tournament of Roses Sip and Savor. That's right.
Yeah, you're right. Great
Anyway,
job.
this is a fun event that they do around the Rose Parade. and you get to go up there, and there's tons of food, tons of entertainment, tons of beverages, and then if you get the VIP ticket, you get to go in and see all of the Rose Parade floats.
Yeah.
Or you can get a Rose Parade float ticket also. Like, I think those are separate unless you're VIP. But we went last year.
We went for the first inaugural year for the Sip and Savor event.
And we, other than it being rather cold, it
30
was
degrees.
a blast. And this year they have, where do we got it? Lots of people. DJ Wendy Walker coming, Suburban Legends, Just Press Play, Thomasina, and the Mariachi Divas. Like, it's a weekend full of fantastic entertainment. There's the Holy Crow Jazz Band, and the Magician of the Year from the Magic Castle will be there as well.
So excited.
A guy named Johnny Ace Palmer. So I wish I was going. You are going.
Yes.
I will be out of town. So you and K-Slack will be up there. There will be a video for that. What are you most looking forward to? I know what I would be.
I know what you would be too. I am very much looking forward to seeing the Rose Parade floats up close again. Also, the food is really good, so I'm not going to lie. As we discussed earlier, I do love eating. But getting to see the Rose Parade floats and getting to see the schematics, I think that was very fascinating to me because I do a very logical, plan-based oriented mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so seeing these very creative things literally basically be boiled down to a color by numbers with flowers and seeds was fascinating, and getting to see the people that are working on it.
Some of the things like the petals and the seeds and the
Yeah.
small things that they use, and hearing how long they're doing it for. Like, they're not just there for a few hours. Like, they're there days, it seems like.
Well, there was one of the floats I remember last year was like the UCI engineering students.
Yeah.
And they were there for like, somebody was always there for like 5 days constantly. There was always someone on shift working. And they also have supervisors that are supervising the whole thing. Like, there are people there overnight we were cold at like 7 p.m. I can only imagine how cold it is in there at like 2 a.m.
Yep.
So
It's true.
And it's these things you don't think about when you're actually watching the Rose Parade. So it's something super, super fun to see, like, up close.
And if you want more information, you can go to the website and see it, ours, or you can go to sipandsavorpasadena.com and you can see, I think they got photos and information about it in last year's video and all sorts of cool stuff that you can check out, and it'll be great.
I'm very excited about this weekend.
Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Oh, gracious.
I didn't even think of that till just now.
Oh, hopefully it doesn't rain.
Let's look. It's not going to rain.
Wait,
It'll be
but we have
fine.
to look for Pasadena.
It'll be fine. It's sunny here on Saturday, so if it's sunny here, you'll be fine in Pasadena.
I'm scared.
It'll be great. It's hard to believe it though. It's almost Christmas.
Well, and we were talking about when we started posting about the Sip and Savor event. I was very much like, wait, has it really already been a year since last event? Because and then with that, obviously, Rose Parade comes New Year's, and I was like, oh gracious, it's almost New Year, which is kind of crazy.
It is true.
But yeah, Christmas is in 2 days.
We hope you're ready, and we're about as ready as we can be, I guess. And then we have to clean all of this up, which is never so fun.
Yeah.
It's like,
Say,
it seemed like a good idea at the time.
I mean, to be honest, though, last year was more difficult. Because last year...
Oh, yeah, we had a lot more stuff going on.
Yeah.
And a new wall to put up.
It was the great wall.
One thing we should note, for those of you, I don't know that any of you watching it this very second are one of those, because I feel like you guys are pretty regular in the park and know how it works. But those of you who aren't regulars in the park and have this beautiful idea that, hey, I should go to Disneyland on Christmas Day because it's not going to be busy. You're wrong.
It's going to be busy.
It's going to be busy. There's usually a few hours in the morning that's not too bad, but then as the day picks up, so do the crowds. So just be forewarned ahead of time. Disneyland is busy on Christmas Day. In previous years when I've been on Christmas Eve, same thing.
Yeah.
I haven't done that recently, but I will say it's fun to go on Christmas Eve. There's this, I don't know, it's just kind of a special day. And there seems to be a little bit of extra dose of magic going on Christmas Eve. But don't expect there to not be crowds. Although it hasn't been as bad this week since everybody's blocked out as other weeks. But I would still expect Christmas Day to be busy.
But to be honest, my dose of Disney magic on Christmas Day comes from watching the Christmas Day parade on ABC. I do it every year. I subject my family to it.
Do you think there's gonna be Rise of Resistance
Oh
spoilers
gosh!
on it?
Oh no!
I didn't even think of that.
Oh no! Well, and the other issue, my parents have not been pass holders for a couple years. So my parents have not seen Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. So a lot of things,
They may not want to watch.
yeah, a lot of things that I have through watching. My parents and I have watched every episode of the Imagineering Story together, and I suddenly realized, I said, yeah, you know, there's stuff of Rise of Resistance you shouldn't watch. Wait, you shouldn't watch any of the Smuggler's Run stuff either, because you, so, oh gosh, I hope not. I would just be like, okay guys, anyway, so I'm gonna turn off the TV for 5 minutes.
That was nice. Yeah.
The parade was great. Thanks, A Christmas Fantasy. And whatever
Slightly
it's
different.
called in
With the different
Disney World?
Frozen outfits that aren't anywhere.
the adventuring outfits.
That aren't anywhere. Maybe they'll use them in the parade next year or something. I don't know.
I would very much enjoy if they used the Frozen 2 adventuring outfits.
I would like them to use them now, but I don't think they're going to. But I thought they were good outfits. They were fun.
They're just nice. I like the color scheme of the outfits. Is that
Okay.
weird to say? I think that it is very aesthetically pleasing, and it is a good mix up from what they did in the first Frozen film.
That is very true. And that's great. Anyway, we are running out of time for tonight, so
So you should go check out all of our previous episodes at thegeekscorner.com. Check out all the chaos, most of it without technological issues or
We
with.
hope.
And you should go to dapsmagic.com, check out all the Disney and geek news as it happens, subscribe to our mailing list, and find our Patreon.
and subscribe to this YouTube channel. We've got tons of videos going up, including a smell-o-vision commentary on It's a Small World that Caitlin and I did the other day. And it was after I'd had 4 hours of sleep. So I'm just going to leave it with that, and it's probably worth watching. I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet.
Caitlin edited it, and I've had everybody that lives with Caitlin and a few of her friends texting me saying how funny it was. So I don't know. Anyway,
see.
you might want to subscribe for that. And then we've also got some more Fat Cat Swinger videos going up, some Westbeat videos or Holiday Harmonies that go by at Downtown Disney videos
Your
going up.
Christmas adventures, correct?
And I will be having some adventures up north for Christmas, starting on Christmas Day, and I will be getting those up as quickly as I possibly can as well. It'll probably be just 2, but we'll see. I don't actually know what I'm going to do. But
I don't know either.
It's going to be cold, though.
Ah!
Going on a ferry when it's 38 degrees.
And I'll be here.
In the sun. But that is all the time we have for you this week. We hope you have a very Merry Christmas. Thank you all for watching. We will see you around the corner.
Bye.